What happens when a humble yet sharp-minded business owner decides to step into his own coffee shop undercover? Sometimes the truth isn't just surprising, it's eye-opening. Let's dive in to see what unfolded. In the heart of Portland, Oregon, lived a man named Daniel Harrington, a name not known to many, despite him owning one of the fastest-growing coffee shop chains in the region. Daniel was not a flashy man. He didn't drive a sports car, nor did he wear a suit worth thousands of dollars. Instead, he was the kind of man who believed that his success was built on treating people right, both customers and employees. He started his business 10 years ago, roasting coffee in a small garage, driven by nothing but passion and grit. Daniel always valued transparency. He made it his mission to check in on his stores regularly, but as the business expanded to nearly 15 locations, it became harder for him to know what truly went on in every store. One day, he heard a troubling rumor. One of his coffee shops had been receiving complaints about poor service and overcharging customers. Daniel wanted to get to the bottom of it, but he didn't want to alert the employees. So, he decided to pay a visit himself, not as the boss, but as a regular customer. Wearing an old flannel shirt, jeans, and a baseball cap, Daniel walked into the coffee shop on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. The shop was called Harrington's Brews, and it was buzzing with people. The rich aroma of coffee beans filled the air, and the chatter of customers created a comforting hum. However, something felt off. The once lively, cheerful atmosphere Daniel had envisioned for his coffee shops seemed replaced with a sense of tension. Behind the counter stood a man named Brian. Brian was a senior employee who had been working at the shop for nearly 3 years. He was known among his peers for his charm, but Daniel sensed something else, an air of arrogance in the way Brian carried himself. Daniel queued up like any other customer, observing how Brian interacted with others. "Next," Brian said flatly, barely looking at the customer in front of him. Daniel stepped forward, offering a small smile. "Good afternoon. Can I get a medium latte, please?" Daniel asked, his tone polite. Brian punched the order into the register and responded, "Sure, that'll be $7.50. Daniel blinked, surprised. A medium latte at Harrington's Brews was priced at $4.50. At first, he thought it might have been a mistake, so he asked casually, "Oh, isn't it supposed to be $4.50? Brian's expression shifted slightly, and he leaned in, speaking in a hushed voice. "Prices went up last month. You didn't know, it's $7.50 now." Daniel nodded slowly, pretending to accept the answer, though his mind raced. He handed over a $10 bill, watching as Brian gave him back $2 in change, not bothering with coins. Daniel stepped aside to wait for his drink, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. He decided to stick around the shop for a while, blending in as a customer, observing how Brian treated others. What he saw left him uneasy. As Daniel sat in the corner of the shop, he noticed a pattern. Brian was overcharging nearly every customer, pocketing the extra money instead of ringing up the correct amount in the register. He watched as Brian smirked and slipped cash into his pocket when no one was looking. One customer, a young man named Luke, appeared frustrated after ordering a black coffee. "Hey, this receipt says I paid for a mocha. I just ordered plain coffee," Luke said, holding up the receipt. Brian shrugged nonchalantly. "That's what you ordered, man. If you want a refund, you can take it up with the manager." "Oh wait, he's not here today." Daniel clenched his jaw. This wasn't just bad service, it was outright theft. His heart sank as he realized that the employee he had trusted for years was not only stealing from the business, but also tarnishing the reputation of everything he had built. Daniel knew he couldn't jump to conclusions without proof. Over the next week, he visited the coffee shop multiple times, each time undercover, documenting everything he observed. He even brought a trusted friend, Oliver, to help him record interactions discreetly. The evidence piled up. Brian's dishonesty wasn't just a one-time mistake, it was a calculated habit. Finally, Daniel decided it was time to take action. But instead of confronting Brian directly, he organized a surprise meeting with the entire staff. On a quiet Sunday morning before the shop opened, Daniel walked into the coffee shop, not as a customer, but as the owner. He wore his usual straightforward expression, though his heart was heavy. The employees gathered around, curious but nervous, as Daniel began to speak. "I've been hearing some concerns about this location," Daniel said, his voice steady. "So I decided to see for myself what's been going on." Brian shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. Daniel continued, "I want to share something with you all." He pulled out his phone and played a video showing Brian overcharging customers and pocketing the extra cash. Gasps filled the room. "Brian," Daniel said, his voice firm but calm, "do you have anything to say for yourself?" Brian stammered, his face pale. I didn't mean to. It was a mistake, I swear." Daniel shook his head. "A mistake is something you fix after the first time. This was a choice." As angry as Daniel felt, he believed in second chances. "Brian, I'm giving you a choice," he said. "You can own up to what you've done, return every cent you've taken, and commit to making things right, or you can leave this company today." To everyone's surprise, Brian broke down. He admitted to his wrongdoing, explaining that financial struggles had pushed him to make poor choices. Though it didn't excuse his actions, his honesty struck a chord with Daniel. Daniel decided to give Brian one last chance, under strict conditions. Brian would have to repay the stolen money, attend mandatory training on ethics and customer service, and work under close supervision. Over time, the shop transformed. With Daniel's guidance, the team worked together to rebuild trust with customers. Brian, humbled by the experience, became one of the most hard-working employees, earning back the respect of his peers. The story of Daniel's undercover visit spread across the community, not as a tale of punishment, but as a reminder that everyone deserves a chance to change. Daniel often reflected on the experience, realizing that true leadership wasn't just about running a business, it was about guiding people to be better. And from that day on, Harrington's Brews wasn't just a coffee shop. It became a symbol of honesty, growth, and second chances. Moral of the story: sometimes uncovering the truth isn't just about exposing the wrong, it's about finding the path to make it right. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.